Okay, so this is my fourth time filming this because in post I realized I sound like a robot in some of them and the lighting was garbage. And today the lighting is nice and it's not that cold. And I'm also wearing a Snuggie, so I'm gonna film this outside. But to start off, Assalamu alaikum everybody. My name is Sohail, and today we're going to be talking about how to use Notion as a tool for spiritual reflection to help us live more self-aware and reflective lives. Stay tuned until the end of the video because we'll actually be able to see how powerful Notion is and how important it is for what we're wanting to do today. So, yeah. All right, I realize I'm basically eating the mic right now, but I can't get the audio to be good otherwise, so we're just gonna have to bear with this. But basically, what is muhasaba? Muhasaba is essentially the act of spiritual reflection or retroactively looking on our day's deeds and trying to assess how well we performed. All of us have our own standards for what we determine as something we want to work on. Some of us want to pray Ashraq more. Some of us want to wake up for Tahajjud more often. Some of us want to focus on our 5 daily salah. We might not be praying Fajr on time, or we might not be praying Fajr or Dhuhr altogether at all. And that's totally fine. Everybody has their own levels and statuses in their life for where they want to be. But basically the idea here is that no matter what area of the spectrum you're on, you'd be able to use this tool to help yourself reflect, become aware of things you can improve on, and help yourself become better every single day. And obviously, 2021, New Year, everybody's heard all the cliches, New Year resolutions, but maybe Islam and your spirituality is something you want to focus on. Maybe it's something you want to build upon. And so that is why we're going to be exploring this specific template that I made. It's obviously free. I'm not gaining anything from this other than ajr, obviously. Hopefully this is some benefit to you guys. But basically, muhasaba is an act of, you can think of it kind of as like a spiritual habit tracker. It's a way to assess these things you did throughout the day. And there's multiple ways of doing it. Some people like to do it on an actual physical piece of paper. Some people do it in a Google spreadsheet. Obviously, today we're going to be using Notion, and I will briefly explain to you what that is. All right, so now what is Notion? Some of you guys might already know what it is because obviously I'm a big fan of it and I basically send the same video to everybody to get onto it. But basically Notion is an app that kind of combines all the other project management, note-taking, habit tracking softwares that we're used to into one tool. It allows you to take notes, and for me personally, I take notes with it. I track my projects with it. I will sometimes use the web clipper to save like recipes or places I want to visit in the future to Notion. It's kind of like a wiki, like your own hub for everything that's important for you in your life. And a lot of popular YouTubers talk about it. Ali Abdaal, Thomas Frank. The biggest impact or influence that's had on me, person who's had the most influence on me, is August Bradley. I'm going to link his video in the description, but basically he has a life operating system that he made in Notion, and it's a great way to just stay on top of all the things you're working on without really having to stress about it all the time, because you just have it on this system for you. Now, obviously, muhasaba can be done on many different scales. You can do it daily, you can do it weekly, you can do it monthly. Today, we're going to be exploring a method of daily muhasaba, where we use this template that will essentially help us track our 5 daily salah and any other extra deeds that we want to be doing every single day and keeping track of. And it allows for a deeper reflection, a deeper sense of understanding and awareness of what we're doing. And it's really cool because every single day that you track will slowly accumulate, and there's this thing called weeks in review that we'll go over that'll allow us to essentially see how we perform throughout the week, create a deeper insighted reflection of things that we achieved, things that we can improve on, and slowly become better every single day. Now, it's free to use Notion. It's free to make a personal plan on there, so I'll go ahead and link that in the description and probably show you a screen recording right here. But basically, all you have to do is go there, make an account, and once you have that set up, you can go ahead and duplicate this template that we're going to be looking at today, and you're good to go. Lastly, one thing I wanted to say before we actually dive into this, obviously you can watch this at 2x speed, whatever you want to do. It's going to be a long video, but that's only so that we can be as nitpicky about every single detail of this as possible. You don't need it if you know how to use Notion, especially. This will be pretty straightforward, but I just wanted to provide this as kind of a guide. And throughout this, just be mindful that the goal of this is for us to improve ourselves, for us to be more reflective, and to think deeper about the things we do on a daily basis. So go in with that intention, and inshallah, it'll bring benefit to you. And yeah, I just hope it's a good beneficial thing. So yeah, deuces. So this is the Daily Muhasaba main page. Over here, you're going to find all the things that you'll need to actually dive into this. Here's a basically worded out guide of how to use it. This video isn't required. This is just there for people who are more visual learners and like to hear how to be guided through it. But this kind of explains to you how to use the daily log, how to use the end of day review, and how to use the end of week review, which are all respectively right here. Daily log, end of day review, and weeks in review. For this video, we're going to go ahead and dive into each of these specifically. So let's go ahead and start on that right now. So on the start of a new week, you're going to want to head down to the bottom of the page and click on the weeks in review page. I already made a new row here, but basically on the start of a new week, you'll want to go ahead and click new. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this just because. And you want to name the week, obviously, what the date range is. So for us, we're going to go ahead and do what? January 1st to January 8th. Now, usually I'll start the week on a Sunday or a Monday. For me, it's Sundays. But just for the sake of this video, we're going to be going ahead and starting on a Friday. The next thing you want to do is go to date range, and you want to make sure you click the end date button down here. You start your date, obviously, on the first day, and you end your date on the last day. And for the focus and objective, you want to go ahead and choose something that you can focus on for that week. Now, this can be spiritual. This can be related to Islam. This can be related to your morals. This can be something completely secular. It's totally up to you. But obviously, this being a muhasaba-centered thing, you want it to probably be spiritual, something Islamically based. So as you can see for this week right here, one of them was to want to pray Ishraq at least 3 times this week. Maybe for this week, it's to pray Fajr on time every day. Now, in regards to this focus and objective, you want to make sure you choose something that is tangible. It is something that you can achieve. It is something that isn't completely out of your capabilities. This isn't something that you have to show to anybody else. So this is completely personal and up to you. For me, I wouldn't choose something like pray tahajjud every day because I'm not even at that level to be able to jump to that. You want to choose something that you won't be disappointed in yourself in if you aren't able to achieve. And it's something that you don't want to set yourself up for failure for. So go ahead and choose something that is very tangible and easy for you to focus on. And that is something you're going to choose for this focus and objective part. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, and one thing that is kind of essential for this database specifically, whenever you make a new week, you want to go ahead and add these 2 left arrows. The reason you do that is just so that it's easier for you to spot what your current week is. And whenever there's a new week, you can go ahead and just simply delete that and then add the 2 arrows to your current week. So this is just something that makes it easier to track. Now, if you go ahead and open this, you'll see a lot of extra information that we'll go ahead and talk about later. But for right now, you just want to note that there is this relation called days. Now, we're going to go ahead and talk about that in this next segment. So let's go ahead and jump to that. So now on the start of a new day, you want to go back to your Daily Muhasaba page. You want to scroll down and you want to go to the daily log. Now you'll see these 2 things appear on the bottom. You'll have one for obligatory and one for recommended. Now if you note and you see these columns right here, it'll kind of make sense and click. Obviously, you have your obligatory 5 prayers during the day, and these are the obligatory things that you have to do every single day as a Muslim. Now, under recommended, this is completely customizable up to you and what you want to track and what you're trying to achieve. For me, right now, I have AM dhikr, PM dhikr, morning and evening adhkar. You have Ishraq, Quran, Surah Mulk, Tahajjud, pray 2 nafil. Tahajjud and pray 2 nafil, for the record, I just added that for the sake of this video. I'm not personally doing that, just so that that's clear. But these are things that you can add and remove as you wish. Obviously, you just have to right click. You just click delete or hide. And if you want to add something new, you just go here to the plus and you just go ahead and add a new thing to track. Now, what you want to make sure is whenever you're adding something, you want to go to this property type and you want to change it to a checkbox. So that way it's something that you can easily check off. So let's say it's donate $1. You're not going to do this every day. Maybe you do, I don't know. But that is something that you can add up to your own discretion. Now, the important thing that you have to do at the start of every single day is click this new button down here, or you can click the blue button. Let's go ahead and just click this. And you want to add today's date. So today's date, we're going to put January 1st. And you'll note that it already made a new row here because these 2 are the same database. They're just showing you different columns. Now, the next important part, and this is the next crucial part, is for you to go to this week column. You click on this box right here, and now you'll see these 2 rows that we had already created in the Weeks in Review database. This is the magic of Notion. This is where it gets cool. Since we told ourselves that these two left arrows are what's going to signify what today is, we can go ahead and just, or what this week is, we can go ahead and just click this because this day belongs to this week. And now if we were to go back to the weeks in review page, you'll notice that when we open this right here, the days row that we talked about before now has one page called January 1st, which is essentially that day that we had just created. This is where it gets cool because it starts to populate automatically all of these different days that we add in, and that's where all of these rows will come in. So we'll go ahead and talk about that in a second. But for right now, we'll go back to Daily Muhasaba. Now that we're back in the daily log, this is essentially the place that you're going to be every day. You don't have to worry about your end of day review throughout the day. You don't have to worry about the weeks in review area throughout the day. You just have to have this open or just check in with it throughout the day. Obviously, over here for, let's say, Fajr time comes in. You want to go ahead and click right here. And now you have three options. You have on time, you have late, and you have missed. These are pretty self-explanatory. If you missed Fajr, you would choose missed. If you were late for it, you would choose late. And if you're on time, you would choose on time. And this is the same for all 5 salah. So let's go ahead and just choose a random set right here. So we can just say that this is an example day. And now for our recommended deeds, let's say we did our AM dhikr, we did Ishraq, we read Quran, and we prayed 2 nafil, and we donated $1. Let's say we did that, right? So now our day is over. So now let's head into the end of day review. All right, now in the end of day review, you'll notice that the day is already populated because you already created that at the beginning of the day. But now you have 4 new columns. You have the achievements column, you have improvements, you have gratitude, and you have a daily prayer score. Let's start with the daily prayer score. The daily prayer score is shown right here is how it's calculated. For each single prayer that you pray on time, you get 2 points. For everyone that's late, you get 1 point. And for everyone that's missed, you have 0 points. This is an arbitrary equation that was created. It has nothing to do with Islam. It's not a fatwa. It's just something that I did to kind of incentivize and gamify praying on a daily basis if it isn't something that you're already used to. And it's going to be a total out of 10 points, which is the sum of your 5 daily prayer scores. And so for today, we got an 8 because that essentially will add up all of these because we got 2 points here, 2 points here, 2 points here, 6 points, and then 1 point for each late, which is 8 points. So that is our daily prayer score. This is just for us to incentivize praying consistently. Now for the achievements column, this is just something that you want to keep track of for things you did that you're proud of that day. Let's say, for example, I prayed 4 nafil salah instead, and that's something that I'm proud of. Now for improvements, this is something where we have to be more accountable. We have to be more reflective and think about things that we did during the day that we aren't that proud of, things that we want to do better the next day. These are things that aren't for us to bash ourselves about, but it's just a source of our own improvement on a day-to-day basis, and it's something that we can tangibly note. So for this, you want to think about every single interaction that you had throughout the day, every single moment that you potentially could have harmed somebody, you could have said something wrong, you could have done something wrong. In the digital age, that's more on the lines of online interaction sometimes. So maybe it was in a Zoom call, maybe it was over text, something that you did that you may not have been so proud of. So let's say today my thing was I wasn't a good brother. Let's just choose that. I say it like, oh, that's not true, but never know. But that's something that we may want to improve on. So now tomorrow, one thing that I can do that I can tangibly say is be more attentive, right? These are all, obviously this is specifically made for this video, but these are things that you're going to be noticing for yourself, and these are things that you want to improve on. So cater it to yourself. Now for gratitude, this is something that you're grateful for on a day-to-day basis, just to kind of think about and look at the bright side. So I'm thankful for breathing. Let's go with that. So now we're done with our end of day review. It's the end of the day, and that's it. So now let's dive into what you do at the end of your week. All right, now at the end of the week, you want to go back to the weeks in review database. So we'll go ahead and click on that. And for this week specifically, I'm going to be choosing this December 4th to December 20th because I've already populated it as if we already finished a whole week. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and show you what an example week would look like. Now here we're going to open it as a page, and you'll note, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and delete this because that's not what you're going to see. You're just going to see this right here. You'll notice the date range is already made, 14th to the 20th, and you'll see that 5 days are already populated. It's already added here because I chose this week whenever I had that week's column available. you'll notice the focus and objective for this week was I want to pray Ishraq 3 times this week. Now, you'll see an average score thing right here. This is where all the magic of Notion comes in. It'll take every single score that you got on each of these individual days, and it'll average it for you and show you your average score. So for this week, my average score was 7.6 out of 10. It's an arbitrary number. It's just something to kind of motivate you to want to do better every single week. This is the part where it's truly beneficial and actually helps you see what your trends are, what you tend to do on a weekly basis. This week right here, Fajr summary, will take every single Fajr Salah that you logged every single day, December 14th, 18th, 17th, 16th, 15th, and it'll show them all right here. So I prayed Fajr late 3 times this week. I missed it once, and I prayed it on time once. For Dhuhr, I prayed it 4 times on time, 1 time late, and so on and so on and so on. And so this kind of shows you and helps you see what your trends are, what you tend to miss, what you tend to be late for, and then this gives you a source of reflection on how you can be better the next week. For achievements and improvements and gratitudes, these things work the same. It will take every single one of your daily achievements, your daily improvements, your daily gratitudes, and it'll separate them by a comma. Here you'll only see 2 and 2 because I only filled out 2 on these days. And gratitudes, you'll see none because I didn't fill out any. But when this is fully populated, you'll see each of them separated by a column, and it'll be easier for you to go ahead and check out everything that you've done that week. Now, at the end of the week, you want to go ahead to the bottom right here, and you want to click the weekly template button. So after clicking the weekly template button, you'll notice that this all down here has been populated for us. Now, essentially, just like we talked about achievements on a daily basis, improvements on a daily basis, gratitudes on a daily basis, this thing works the same way. It's just on a weekly basis. You want to go ahead and look at all the achievements that you did every single day, and you want to list the ones that were most important to you, the ones that were most valuable to you, and the ones that you're most proud of. For the lows and struggles, you can also look at your improvements and note the things that you weren't as on time for, you weren't up to the standard that you hold for yourself. And these can also include just things that you're struggling with or you're dealing with on your own daily basis. And what I learned this week, this I kind of included just for the sake of something that you've picked up spiritually or intellectually, whether it's in religious knowledge or it's just in terms of life knowledge, whatever it is, it's just something to kind of remind you on a weekly basis that you are improving. And how can I make next week better? This is the actual tangible way for us to kind of gear what our next week's focus is going to be. This is where we kind of figure out what our focus and objective will be for the next week. So looking at our achievements, looking at our improvements, looking at our summary of all of our 5 daily salah on each of the single days, we can now see a tangible way to make the next week better. Maybe I noticed that 3 of my Fajr salahs are late. One of them is missed. So I'm having a trend of maybe not waking up on time. So one of the things I can write for how can I make next week better is to sleep earlier or to maybe nap during the day. And this can be something that I now fill out for my next week's focus and objective. Maybe I'm noting that I need to sleep earlier on a daily basis. It's right there. Maybe I need to read more Quran. That is something that I can also add as my focus or objective. Maybe to read Quran at least 3 times in the week, something like that. Now you come down here for this checkbox. You see add new week for next week. This is basically where we're going to essentially add the new week. So you just click this drop down right here. You'll notice that this week is already here, but for you guys, you won't see this, so it'll be empty. You just have to go ahead and click new, click the next week name, which will be January 9th to January 16th, if I did that math right. The date range, this again, you want to make sure it's in that specific range that you did, right? Messing this up first, right there. And it's gone because it's filtered for the days. We're just going to go ahead and click in here, and you can now set your focus and objective to what you had before. So now we're going to go back here, and one thing you want to make sure is we always add arrows. We remove the arrows from the previous week, which we already did because we deleted it, and we just want to go ahead and add arrows for the new week, and we are now done with our weekly review. So that is a wrap. So one thing that I forgot to mention is that if you do want to track a specific deed on a weekly basis, you can go ahead under weeks in review and you can go ahead and add a property. So let's say one of those properties, you want it to be Ishraq, right? Pray Ishraq like at least 3 times a week. Maybe that's something you want to do. All you have to do is obviously title it whatever you want, go to the property type, go to roll up. Now you click over here. For relation, select an existing relation, you want to click days. And now for property, you just want to choose whichever one it is you want to track on a weekly basis. So obviously on the daily basis, it's Ishraq. So I'm going to click that, and you just keep it as show original. And now what it's going to do, and I'll show you as an example right here, is it will show you all the days that you did pray Ishraq with a checkbox. So now you can see focus and objective, want to pray Ishraq at least 3 times this week. I can go ahead quickly see that I achieved it. I did that this week. And that's just something that you can go ahead and adjust to your own liking, depending on whatever you're focusing on, depending on what you want to improve on. And that is a wrap. Thank you guys for watching. Obviously, if there are things that you feel like can be improved, or there are certain aspects that you wish were in this template, please let me know, because obviously this is something that'll benefit me as well, because I do use this, and it'll benefit a lot of other people who inshallah will also benefit from this. So yeah, feel free to reach out. Like this video if you enjoyed it, share it with people if you think it'll be helpful for them. And yeah, another important thing that I just realized is you probably want to know how to get this. So this is where I kind of left a little self-plug, because obviously that's the only benefit I'm getting other than ajr, but alhamdulillah, inshallah, this will also be easy for you guys to do. All you have to do is subscribe to my newsletter. Obviously I'm not doing much right now. I only have 1 issue out, but inshallah 2021 I hope to be more consistent with that. But basically, all you have to do is subscribe to my newsletter, which I'll either show up on the screen somewhere here or in the description. And yeah, you subscribe, and then you'll get the template emailed to you. And all you have to do from there is you click on the link, and you click duplicate on the top right of your screen, and now you have it in your workspace. So you just have to drag the daily log and the weeks in review and the daily review into your own workspace, and that's all you really need. And yeah, so I hope this was beneficial. Inshallah, maybe there's more videos in the future, who knows? I'm not a YouTuber, but yeah, jazakallahu khairan for watching, and deuces.